So as the world's largest Arab nation is on the verge of revolution, whose side should the U.S. be on? And does the recent wave of uprisings in the Arab world, from Tunisia to Egypt to Yemen, prove that Bush's policy of imposing democracy in the region through war was a failure, and that Obama's calls for political and economic reform in the region are more effective? And in fact, let me even add to that, might he have lit this fuse with his speech in Cairo? Heather, your thoughts?
Well, I don't think that we can blame this on Bush. I think that, we've been supporting Egypt for many, many years. They receive a huge amount of money from us, and they have been for, I think, 60 years. So we can't blame this on Bush, and I think we do need to reevaluate how we are supporting them and if we should continue to do so.
Sam,
I think it's very fair to point a finger at the Bush administration, quite frankly. As did Obama throw the match, on the gas. Another story altogether. But from time and time again, we see the Bush policies of let's go establish a pro-democracy regime somewhere. Complete failure, doesn't work, and quite frankly, put yourself in that country's position with that kind of imperialistic intervention in your nation. I think Bush deserves a lot of credit for some of the unrest that's going on right now.
Well, this also goes back to, Sadat and Nasser and all the way back to the Eisenhower.
Bush is irrelevant to this just because of the chronology of the thing. It's absurd to try to ascribe Bush any blame on this. It's patently absurd.
Well, he certainly destabilized the region.
But to give Obama credit is absurd, too. Because, first of all, if he really wanted democratic revolution, he would have jumped in on the Green Revolution in Iran in 2009, and he waited way too long to say anything on that.
If he had jumped in on that, it would have been the end of it would have reversed the outcome that you want, and you know that.
No, it wouldn't. The outcome I wanted was the malacracy out of there.
Right, and if the United States goes in
and did that work out?
Should happen,
he waited. Is the malacracy gone?
And it's on its way, I think.
But wait a minute. You just said if he jumped in earlier, I wouldn't have gotten the outcome I wanted. He waited, and I got the outcome I didn't want.
I think the problem is that, well, I don't want to...
Look, and besides, and this is the main factor in this is the chronology of the internet in the Muslim world.
Absolutely.
In North Africa,
North
Africa and the Middle East, between 2003 and 2008, we've gone up to 88.5 million people getting internet access, and they're getting information beyond the cloak of ignorance that these dictators throw down on their people.
And if there's a single thing that we can point to, I would agree with you 100% on that.
Thomas Jefferson talked about slavery, and he said, we have a wolf by the ears, and we don't know how to let him go. Or we can't let him go, or words to that effect. Right. And I think that we're in that situation right now. If Obama sides with Mubarak, then he may lose an entire generation of Egyptians. On the other hand, if he sides with the protesters and Mubarak stays in power, we may be back to the Nasser era where there's, China comes in and says, "Oh, we'll be your buddies." I mean, this is a real delicate thing. This is a real.
I think the arc of history is we got to go with the protesters.
I'm inclined to agree, but it has to be done step by step. The other big story of the week was the President's State of the Union address. According to a CBS poll, 91% of Americans approved of the President's speech that focused on more federal investments in education, infrastructure, technology, and innovation. Following his address, the GOP responded with two rebuttals, one from Budget Chairman Paul Ryan and one from Michelle Bachmann, representing the Tea Party. Two speeches seem to have a common theme. Take a look.
These are not easy times, but America is an exceptional nation.
We believe in a limited view of government and exceptionalism in America. And I believe...
So, did you notice the word exceptionalism? Speaker of the House John Boehner noticed it, and he noticed that the President didn't use the word on Tuesday night. Okay, he's not there. Anyhow, he as I said, he said... What happened?
Point it out.
Right. So is that a fair criticism? What do Republicans mean by exceptional? Are they referring to the U.S. being exceptional only because we're the only industrialized nation that doesn't consider health care a basic right? Are we exceptional because we don't have a strong social safety net for the poor and the elderly? Are we exceptional because we're falling behind the rest of the world in new investment? Seton, what is it?
Another fantastically unbiased monologue intro.
That's my job here.
The reason we're exceptional is because we haven't gone down the socialist road of Europe and these countries that
I think you're absolutely right. I think this is
exceptional means better, not worse.
No, the textbook definition of American exceptionalism does not refer to our qualitative betterness over another nation. All right, what it refers to is the fact that we're a nation. No, it does not.
Over every other nation.
The textbook definition of it says that what we are is a nation that was founded, with the first nation that was founded in the aftermath of revolution, founded by the people with a precept of government that they created. That's what exceptionalism means. It doesn't mean we're better than anybody else. And I think this is a cheap shot by the Republicans. Michelle Obama, listen, Michelle Obama has gave her a new name, Michelle Bachmann, God forbid, is really just trying to get every inch of media space that she can get right now, is to position herself for what she thinks is next, which is going to be a primary bid for, on the Republican side, for president.
She was invited to speak with the Tea Party Express.
She didn't do whatever she needs to do.
Well, and I don't think that we really need to explain why America is exceptional. I was talking to my kids tonight about Egypt, and how Egypt and all the other countries in the world look at America and wonder what's going on in our country. You ask Egypt what's going on in America, they know. We know what's going on in Egypt. We have to read the papers to find out. And I think that we have a big responsibility to continue to be an exceptional country. And I think that's why the Tea Party is really vigilant, because we realize that our freedoms are in danger of being taken away.
Well, nobody's disputing that this country was founded on the idea that people can govern themselves, that it came out of the liberal enlightenment of the 1700s, arguably the late 1600s.
But we're not allowing it to happen. We're not really doing that anymore.
But there's 100 countries now that call themselves democratic, and there's probably 40 or 50 that
we're not a democracy, we're a republic.
Well, we're still exceptional. Showing other countries that's
the
like
Hanseatic League in the 12th century actually had full-blown democracy in the lowlands of Holland. I mean, we weren't the first. I can go back to Greece for that matter, but I mean, even and there's a pretty straight arc right from there to modern-day Holland. But not to diminish the United States, but it just seems that that word has become code on the right for let's let the corporations and the billionaires run the country and not the people.
You know, my favorite thing that happened was the what Obama should have said State of Union address that's floating around the Huffington Post right now that points out that, we have our hospitals, and we might have the finest hospitals in the world. We're ranked 19th in the world in the quality of health care received by our citizens.
That's an absurd ranking. That's an absurd ranking.
True. The World Health Organization from
the UN, which should be abolished.
Please.
And then they could turn it into a insane asylum.
Well, but he did, to the point of exceptionalism, he did repeatedly point out how, in his mind and in the minds of Americans, we are an exceptional nation. But he didn't use the right-wing buzzword. That was his sin.
And he's also moved away from during the campaign when he said, well, yeah, I think we're an exceptional nation, just like Greece thinks they're an exceptional nation and Ireland thinks they're an exceptional nation.
Exactly. What he was trying to do was to take the sting out of that right-wing term.
Because he doesn't think America's an exceptional nation.
Because what that word means, I mean, listen to Pat Buchanan's old speeches when he used to use that. I actually heard him give one of those speeches. In his mind, at that time, I can't say for now, exceptional meant white Protestant. Exceptional meant, when he would go off on his screeds about the international bankers, subtext Jews. When he would go off, when others, would go off on these screeds.
You're going to assault the guy as being anti-Jew and anti-Catholic when he's not here to defend himself?
No,
that's absurd.
Yes, actually, what I'm saying is that there is a long history of American exceptionalism being associated with anti-Semitism and racism and
there's a lot of association of socialism with killing hundreds of millions of people. Am I accusing you of doing that right now?
Maybe of Marxism, not of socialism.
But I think, Tom, your point's well taken. The fact that the right, the folks on the right have taken a term, right, American exceptionalism, which doesn't mean that American is exceptional, by the way. The textbook term does not refer to that, but they've used it, as you said, Tom, as a code word for an agenda which is against the average quality of life of average citizens and for moneyed interests, special interests, having free reign.
Yeah.
The easiest way to get to a better life for the average person is to allow the corporations to engage in the businesses they wish to engage in and get the government out of the way.
Seton just made my point. If we're exceptional, we turn it over to the president.
We've talked about this with the internet.
After the State of the Union, progressives were unhappy that the president didn't use the platform to advocate for stronger gun control laws. After all, the specter of Gabby Giffords' shooting was still very much hanging in the House chamber Tuesday night. The White House quickly responded to critics, saying that the president will make a statement on gun control very soon. Former Vice President Dick Cheney came out and said this about the issue.
Whether or not there's some measure there in terms of limiting the size of the magazine that you can buy to go with a semi-automatic weapon. We've had that in place before. Maybe it's appropriate to reestablish that kind of thing, but
So let's assume the president comes out and favors stronger gun control laws, which frankly I don't think right now could be a strong assumption. Reforms that the majority of Americans support, and even Dick Cheney, who once shot a guy in the face, supports. Following a rash of deadly shootings, isn't the GOP's fervent defense of anything goes gun rights bordering on insanity? I mean, isn't it time to at least say 33?
Gee, I hate when we rigidly adhere to the
shots
Second Amendment of the Constitution. I hate when we, you know...
I don't recall this having anything to do with the militia.
This is neither does the Second Amendment.
Or machine guns, by the way.
You haven't read the Second Amendment.
Gabby Giffords, our organization, right, we're the oldest organization to financially helping women to run for office on the Republican side and the Democratic side. And we're one of the only organizations that helped her when she ran for state Senate and then when she ran for U.S. Congress. And we were absolutely shocked and floored that nothing came out of this. You would assume this is a perfect moment for us to open up and
Never let a
talk
crisis
about,
go to waste.
Heather,
what about Brady? What about Brady?
Shooting from the hip. Excuse me.
No pun intended.
Yes, exactly. But that kind of reaction is typical Washington. I mean, even the NRA said, we're asked to comment on this, and we're not even allowed to mourn. I think that there's something to be said for allowing silence for a little while before we start changing everything.
I agree.
Isn't it time to reinstate the assault
Every
weapons
single
ban?
gun control law is stupid, and here's why. If a guy's going to risk 20 years to life to rob a bank, he's not going to register his gun before he does it. It's stupid. You're trying to affect the behavior.
It's a nice
you're trying to affect the behavior of criminals by passing more laws, which they're going to break. It's absurd.
And they're ending up in Mexico as well. But isn't it time to just bring back the assault weapons ban? And this is something that the majority of Republicans supported.
Please, yes, it'd be a terrific time to bring that.
Not this Republican.
Terrific time. Terrific time to bring that back. Your thoughts?
I just think that this is all really a rabbit trail that we're going down. I mean, I think, yes, there's something to be said for thinking about a little bit of gun control laws. That's fine. We can talk about that. But I do understand how guns are related to freedom. It's
but
related to
33
liberty.
bullets in a clip.
And this would not have stopped the madman. Let's reiterate, this was a madman who did
if
this.
If that madman only had 9 bullets in his clip,
he would have aimed better. He would have aimed better.
He aimed really well. Most of those bullets hit people.
Well, really I mean, he could have taken more guns. He could have had more ammo attached to him.
If somebody had a gun,
that's when he stopped him. Is when he was changing the magazine.
Well, no. What would have stopped him is if somebody else had had a gun.
Okay. All right. More rumble after the break. We'll be right back.